So my first question, Attorney General Bondi, is a simple yes/no question. Do you believe that government officials like Gregor Bovino are obligated to follow applicable court orders, whether they agree with them or not, yes or no?
First, Senator Padilla, you have gone on for over 5 minutes, and I wish that you loved your state of California as much as you hate President Trump. We'd be in really good shape then, because violent crime in California is currently 35% higher than the national average. Property crime in California is 18% higher than the national average. That should be something that we should be talking about and working together on, yet we're not. And no, this is important. You're talking about all of my agencies, and I want to let you know what DEA has been doing, and they are working hand in hand with
I appreciate
security.
that.
No, you can't go on for 5 minutes and criticize my agents who are out working without pay right now because you voted to shut down the government. They're out there working without pay.
Whose decision was it to end this investigation?
I have answered that question multiple times, yet you didn't have the courtesy to be sitting in here for the hearing. I'm not going to answer it again. And I find it interesting that you want order in this proceeding now. Excuse me, Senator. You want order in this proceeding now. You sure didn't have order when you stormed Secretary Nome at a press conference in California, did you?
You ever notice how Democrats love to talk about compassion at the border until someone like Pam Bondi reminds them of the chaos their policies actually created? Well, today, Bondi didn't hold back. She went straight at Senator Padilla with the facts, the ones the mainstream media refuses to show you. Let's break down exactly how she exposed the left's border hypocrisy point by point.
Senator Padilla.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to participate in this hearing today, which is our, at minimum, annual opportunity to ask questions as we fulfill our obligation to provide accountability over the Department of Justice. So just sort of to level set a little bit for folks in the audience and for folks watching at home, the Department of Justice is supposed to be the nation's guardian of fairness and the rule of law. The power of the Department of Justice is built on public trust and a belief that prosecutions are based on facts and law, not on politics or personal loyalty. And I call that out, Mr. Chairman, because when that breaks down, when the public trust breaks down, then justice itself is at risk. But under this Trump administration and the leadership of Attorney General Bondi, I believe the independence of the Department of Justice has come under attack. The department has been reorganized, it's been realigned, and repurposed in ways that we've never seen before. Important offices have been closed, key programs dismantled, and agents diverted, all without congressional authorization or transparent justification. Now, these are not minor bureaucratic changes. They represent a fundamental shift in the Department of Justice's missions and priorities, its policies, and its practices. Now, for example, career prosecutors have been pressured to change decisions in politically sensitive cases. Ethics oversight has been taken away from independent career professionals and handed to political appointees with little experience in these matters. Internal working groups have been created to revisit investigations involving President Trump and his allies. And together, these steps send a dangerous message that prosecutorial decisions can be driven by political loyalty instead of the law. Now, even more troubling is that the Department of Justice has pulled resources away from organized crime, away from counterterrorism, away from the protection of civil rights to focus on immigration enforcement. The American people expect a Department of Justice to pursue violent crime, as do I, to pursue corruption and threats to national security, not to serve as an arm of immigration policy, and in so doing, under-resource other critical missions. Now, the Justice Department's credibility depends on the public's faith in justice, and that the justice will be applied equally to every person and not reserved for the powerful or the connected. And that faith must be protected. And so it's in that spirit that this committee has a duty to ensure the department's work remains lawful, remains transparent, and remains true to its highest duty, the fair and impartial administration of justice. Now, that being said, I do want to get into some specific items with Attorney General Bondi here, beginning with the firing of Michelle Beckwith. Michelle Beckwith was a 15-year career prosecutor with the Department of Justice. She prosecuted in her career some of the worst in my home state of California: sex traffickers, transnational terrorists, those who this administration claims to care about and be targeting, prioritizing in taking them off the streets. And it may surprise some to learn that Ms. Beckwith was unceremoniously marched out of her office and fired from her job in July of this year. Why? Not because she failed to do her job, quite the opposite. It was because she had the audacity to remind Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino that he was obligated to follow a court order and the Constitution in California. According to reports, she was fired less than 6 hours after she told Bovino he couldn't arrest people without probable cause. 6 hours. So my first question, Attorney General Bondi, is a simple yes-no question. Do you believe that government officials like Gregory Bovino are obligated to follow applicable court orders, whether they agree with them or not, yes or no?
First, Senator Padilla, you have gone on for over 5 minutes, and I wish that you loved your state of California as much as you hate President Trump. We'd be in really good shape then, because violent crime in California is currently 35% higher than the national average. Property crime in California is 18% higher than the national average. That should be something that we should be talking about and working together on, yet we're not. And no, this is important. You're talking about all of my agencies, and I want to let you know what DEA has been doing, and they are working hand in hand with
I appreciate that.
No, you can't go on for 5 minutes and criticize my agents who are out working without pay right now because you voted to shut down the government. They're out there working without pay.
Mr. Chairman, I asked a simple yes or no question. Attorney General Bondi
DEA, 4,500 kilos of fentanyl and 50 million fentanyl pills off the streets.
While under your watch,
FBI, 23,000 violent criminals. U.S. Marshals, 51,000 fugitives.
I'm not getting an answer to my question. I'm trying to move on to the next question or the next topic. Mr. Chairman, order, please. Thank you. Because under Attorney General Bondi's watch, career prosecutors are being fired for telling agencies to follow the law and uphold the Constitution. Meanwhile, there are instances of allies of the president who seem to be getting let off the hook. I won't reiterate what some of my colleagues have already brought up in terms of the dismissal of the investigation into Tom Homan and his alleged acceptance of $50,000 as payment by undercover FBI agents posing as business executives looking to secure contracts with a future Trump administration. Because if the reports are true, it's not just the underlying conduct of Mr. Homan, which would be absolutely unacceptable, but the dismissal of the investigation charges raises concerns about the influence of the White House on the Department of Justice. Again, a simple question, and I'd appreciate a simple and brief answer. Whose decision was it to end this investigation?
I have answered that question multiple times, yet you didn't have the courtesy to be sitting in here for the hearing. I'm not going to answer it again. And I find it interesting that you want order in this proceeding now. Excuse me, Senator. You want order in this proceeding now.
Chairman, order,
you sure didn't have order when you stormed Secretary Noem at a press conference in California, did you?
I will ask a follow-up question. Would you commit to either releasing the tape or at least making it available for members of this committee to review, yes or no?
Senator, you have not been sitting in here this entire hearing. I've answered the question, and I also want to tell you that our ATF agents have seized 25,000 illegal firearms.
So we will try again and move on to a different
In your
topic.
home state, we are prosecuting
Chairman,
illegal
order,
aliens
please.
who have raped and murdered young girls.
Thank you. So when I haven't been in this hearing, I've been watching from my office, monitoring the entire hearing, just so everybody is aware. But since I'm not getting answers to my questions, I'll try to ask one last subject area. Now, again, there's been increasing concerns about the politicized decision-making and the erosion of internal safeguards that protect prosecutorial independence. Before we even get into the integrity and independence of prosecutions, you have to ask the question about the independence and integrity of investigations themselves. The director of the FBI, Director Patel, was here before us just a few weeks ago. Attorney General Bondi, you are the Attorney General of the United States. Director Patel reports to you. Do you believe he's doing a good job, yes or no?
I believe Director Patel is doing a great job. You know where he is right now, Senator Padilla? Right now, you asked me a question.
Yes,
Director
I know
Patel
where he
right
is,
now
and I know
is
where
in
he's headed
Chicago,
because you said it
Senator
earlier
Durbin,
in the hearing.
fighting to keep
You said
Chicago
it earlier in the hearing, and yes, I have been paying attention.
You want order in
Chairman,
here now, yet you stormed the Director of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. You sure didn't have order that day, did you, Senator?
Attorney General, you are under oath. I did not storm the secretary, the video.
Oh, that was on video. That
clear.
video has been released, I believe, very publicly.
Mr. Chairman, recent actions raised serious concerns about Director Patel's judgment and politicization, including lawsuits from former FBI officials alleging retaliatory firings, and his decision to cut off longstanding partnerships with civil rights organizations, and his decision to fire an FBI agent for refusing to engage in a, quote, perp walk of James Comey. And on top of all that, his prematurely claiming that subjects were in custody after the shooting of Charlie Kirk. I take Attorney General Bondi's endorsement today of his work as her support for those actions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
May I respond, Senator Chairman?
Yes.
Under Director Patel, 23,000 violent criminals have been arrested, a 91% increase over last year. More than 1,500 child predators have been arrested. We are making cases in your jurisdiction constantly in California, and I wish you would care about those cases. We have disrupted 1,600 gangs and criminal enterprises, 1,600 gangs within this country, thanks to Director Patel and the great men and women of the FBI.
Pam Bondi just did what most Republicans in D.C. are too polite to do. She called out Democratic doublespeak on the border crisis right to their faces. During this tense exchange with Senator Alex Padilla, Bondi didn't let the senator spin his usual compassion and humanity narrative. She brought receipts. She reminded him that under the Biden administration, we've seen record-breaking illegal crossings, millions pouring in without proper vetting, and cartels profiting off human suffering. You could almost see Padilla squirm when Bondi pressed him about accountability. Democrats like to pretend this chaos just happened, but Bondi reminded everyone this was a policy choice. Biden ended Trump's Remain in Mexico policy, he stopped border wall construction, and he rolled back enforcement tools that actually worked. And the result? Record fentanyl deaths, overcrowded facilities, overwhelmed border towns, and communities across America paying the price. Bondi's point was crystal clear. Democrats care more about optics than outcomes. They want open borders for votes, not secure borders for safety. Padilla tried to counter by invoking human rights and compassion, but Bondi hit back, saying compassion doesn't mean letting kids be trafficked, women assaulted, and drugs flood in unchecked. That's not compassion. That's chaos. And this is what frustrates so many conservatives watching, because Bondi wasn't grandstanding. She was telling the truth. A truth the left refuses to admit, that their so-called humane policies have created an inhumane disaster. You know, it's interesting. Every time a strong conservative woman like Pam Bondi steps up, Democrats immediately try to talk over her or dismiss her. But she doesn't flinch. That's why the grassroots base respects her. She's not afraid to say what needs to be said, no matter how uncomfortable it makes Washington Democrats. And the media? Predictably silent. You won't see CNN or MSNBC showing the full clip because it doesn't fit their Republicans bad, Democrats good narrative. But we will show it because the truth still matters on this channel. So let's be clear. Pam Bondi didn't attack anyone. She exposed the failure of Democratic policies, defended the rule of law, and stood up for every American who's tired of the border being treated like a political chessboard instead of a security issue. Whether you like her or not, Bondi's voice reminds us that courage still exists on the right, and it's time more Republicans take notes. Because if we don't demand accountability now, the border will remain wide open, and America will continue paying the price for the left's reckless agenda. Bondi showed up, spoke truth, and didn't back down. And for that, she deserves credit. If you think more conservatives need to start speaking up like this, hit that like button, subscribe to Right Side Report, and drop a comment below. Let's make sure the truth keeps getting louder.